Great. Welcome back to Pirates of the Batcave. We're your hosts. I'm Shadow Bandito, and my co-host here is nameless so far. Captain Something Beard. He's definitely got a beard. What color would you call that beard?
Black.
Oh, okay. I'll call it chocolate. Chocolate, I don't know. Black beard, Captain Blackbeard, right here next to me. Oh, sorry. So tonight, I think we're going to talk a little bit about Bigfoot. I recently went to the Sasquatch Festival in Natchitoches, Louisiana. It was my first time to ever go to the Bigfoot Festival. And first off, I would like to say it was like probably the classiest festival I've ever been to in my life, to be honest with you. And I think I'm saying that just because it was indoors with clean restrooms, but that's besides the point. I'm kind of obsessed with finding clean restrooms. But I guess I learned things about Bigfoot that I didn't know previously. So before I get into what I learned at the Bigfoot Festival, my co-host here, Captain Blackbeard, would you like to tell us what you know about Bigfoot, what you understand about it?
I don't really know much about Bigfoot. It's just supposed to be a hairy ape creature that lives in the wilderness.
Yeah. So the story has never interested you?
No.
No. Okay. Well, and I don't, like, it's interested me because I like to believe in things. I don't want to say like that I like to believe in supernatural things. Maybe I do. But I like to believe that maybe there's things out there we haven't discovered yet. You know what I mean? And so I'm attracted to things like Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster stories, even alien abduction stories if they're not too scary. So Bigfoot, all I knew about Bigfoot is that, like, it's this hairy man ape type thing that walks on 2 feet, and I always associated him as being, like, definitely being an animal.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't really think of humans as animals. I know a lot of people do think that we're animals, but I do feel like we are separate from animals. How do you feel about that?
I think we are separate from animals, but probably not as much as most people like to act.
Okay. Do you want to elaborate on that a little?
So, like, about general breakdown of a world order is something like what makes someone a human is a human has a soul that's made in the image of God.
Okay.
But people are primarily bodies. Like,
Okay.
so it's an animal that has been inhabited by the image of God,
Now that's
essentially,
very interesting.
as opposed to an angel, and an angel is an image of God with a body. It's not the same. So the pure soul is the dominant part of an angel, whereas with a human, the body is actually the dominant part.
Yeah, you just confused me.
What do you mean?
Okay. You just confused me. I feel like that would be like a whole other episode. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, so humans and angels both have bodies.
Yeah.
But angels are more dominated by their soul
Yeah.
than their body, and
A human is a body with a soul, an angel is a soul with a body.
Okay, wow, that's weird. Really?
That's how I break it down.
That's
at
how you
least.
think of it. So what is a dog?
A dog is a body with a spirit.
What's the difference between a soul and a spirit?
And Grant, I'm not sure the Bible exactly makes this distinction, but I would say a spirit is like an animating force. So Winston here, he has like emotions, he has feelings and everything. He has all the desires that a living creature has. So he's got a spirit, but he doesn't have a soul. He's not subject to divine judgment or anything like that.
Oh, interesting. So he doesn't sin.
Not exactly. Not like humans do.
He's not going to be held accountable for his...
Yeah.
Okay, for his shortcomings. All right. I didn't know you felt that way. Okay, so like a Bigfoot type creature, would you, in your mind, if it existed, would you say that that's more animal or human?
in the way most modern people talk about it, I would say it's more animal.
Okay.
But that's because I think there was a lot of, if you look at traditional Native American depictions, I'd say they were probably just some variation of human being.
Yeah.
But a lot of more modern depictions, it basically just comes off to me like a North American gorilla or orangutan.
Yeah.
And so I just think of it like I would think about a gorilla or an orangutan. And you know, the word orangutan is actually like is Indonesian for old man of the forest.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But it kind of makes sense. Yeah.
And if you see videos of them, they'll like trade with people.
Aww.
So if you offer an orangutan food, it will like give you a rock or something in
that's
exchange.
Sweet. I think that's kind of sweet, don't you?
Yeah.
It shows that they have some kind of idea of fairness or something.
Yeah, like they'll exchange, and the orangutans, at least in comparison to most other primates, are very peaceable.
Oh, that's so sweet. Will they give you a hug?
I don't know.
Would it hurt
Presumably.
you? Okay. Now I want a hug. I always say orangutan. That's wrong, huh?
Yeah.
Orangutan.
Orangutan.
Got to be proper in this place. Okay. So I always thought of Bigfoot as like more of an animal type creature, but first off, let me say I went to the Bigfoot festival with my boyfriend, who is not co-hosting with us this evening, but maybe he will be in future episodes. But anyway, this is my son here, so mother-son show right here. Anyways, so we're at the Bigfoot festival together, and I'm very short in comparison to most people, right? Most women in North America. And I would call him unusually tall, but I think everyone is tall because I'm so short. Like, to me, all of you are giants, right? But he is he's probably like exceptionally tall, would you say?
Yeah.
Like freakishly tall? Yes. Okay, so he says he's 6'3", 6'4", depending on what day you ask him, right? I guess it depends on if he's standing up straight or not. And so we're in the Bigfoot festival, and everybody's staring at us. And now we do look strange, probably. Especially him. Which of us, do we both look strange?
Yeah.
We both of us look weird.
Mm-hmm.
But especially when we're together, we look weird.
Yeah.
But I'm not used to people staring at us to the extent that the people at the Bigfoot festival were staring at us. Like, I felt like they were trying to stare into our souls. It was a little bit awkward, but I was like, I kind of brushed it off, and I didn't think too much of it. I'm just trying to think of anywhere else we've been where people have stared at us like that. I really... And we went around sightseeing around the town, and I don't feel like people were looking at us around Natchitoches like they were at the festival. And so now we got there late. We listened to one speaker, like the end of the speaker's talk, and I would have liked to have listened longer. I was really excited to be here. I love at least looking up on YouTube and listen to people who believe what might be called strange things. I love listening to flat earthers. Now that I just said flat earth, this video is going to get buried in the buried. I love listening to flat earthers. I hate that YouTube like buries that kind of thing. It's just and I like listening to like that guy who does the missing 411 stuff. Have you heard of that guy? Do you know his name?
I don't know his name, but I've heard of it.
Yeah. I like listening to this stuff. And so I was excited to hear the speaker. My boyfriend, on the other hand, kept giggling because he couldn't believe, he was like, I can't believe these people are taking this so seriously. And he kept giggling. But from what I could hear of the speaker, he was talking about an encounter he had with Bigfoot, where an alleged encounter, right, with Bigfoot, where the creature / person spoke to him in Cherokee, which I don't want to believe this because I'm like, how do you even know Cherokee? first of all. And then, how would this creature be able to vocalize anything to you in that language? But I found out, and I think you were the one who, like, you helped me to understand this, right? That to the Native American tribes, like to many of the tribes, what we consider Bigfoot, they just considered like another tribe of people.
Yeah, maybe not exactly people, but like, I guess, so like in the medieval European context, I guess a similar idea would be like a cynocephaly.
What's that?
That's so there's actually a medieval theological work about whether a man with a dog's head has a soul, and it's because ancient writers said that off in India or Africa there was a tribe of men who had dogs' heads, and so after Christianity became the dominant religion, now there's the question of do we send missionaries out to these people with dogs' heads?
Yes.
And the dispute was, are they animals or are they people? And the priest who was writing it basically says, from what I can understand, these are just people that happen to have dogs' heads.
Yes.
So if we do find them, yes, we will send missionaries out to them.
Okay, yes.
Basically. But yeah, it's kind of like the native tribes saw it. The Bigfoot is kind of like that.
Okay. But definitely more of an equal and not an other, if you will.
Saw them more. They were less like animals and more like animalistic humans.
Okay. Okay. So, I also purchased a book, and it was called, I think it's called In the Land of Giants, and I got to speak with the author. She signed my book, very sweet lady, and I actually finished the book. And to be honest with you, when I bought the book, I was thinking, I'm just doing this to get a souvenir from the festival, and I wasn't expecting it to, I had low expectations, I'll just be honest. But for a book, a self-published book about Bigfoot, it was pretty good. It was, the first chapter kind of pulls you right in. Somebody goes missing right off the bat. And the author told me that it's a fictional story that she crafted, but it has her theory woven in. And so her theory, and I think I can tell this without giving away too much of the book in case you're interested in buying it, and I do believe it was called Land of the Giants. So her theory about Bigfoot is that Bigfoot would be like descendants of, or exactly, they are the Nephilim that's mentioned in the Bible, like the giants that are like, what is it? The angels came and mated with...
Yeah, the sons of God came down to the daughters of men, and they were giants in those days.
Yes. And so that's her theory, but also that there are descendants walking around among us who would be descended from them that would look normal, except they would be exceptionally tall and or have red hair. And as I'm reading this book, it's making sense to me now why everybody was staring at me and my boyfriend in the Bigfoot festival, because he's exceptionally tall. They might be thinking that, like, if they're holding to this Nephilim theory or whatever, they might think that he's like a Sasquatch or a Sasquatch relative. And to be honest with you, I have kind of accused him of something like this, because I do remember hearing a story, and I don't think I related it to Sasquatch, but I do remember hearing a story on some, obscure YouTube channel years ago. I'm sorry, I'll probably never be able to find it again, but they were talking about Native American lore where they believed there were these huge giants. And in my mind, I'm thinking like way bigger than 6 foot. I'm thinking like 20 foot tall people, right? With red hair and like 6 fingers and 6 toes, who were cannibals, who would like eat people. And so my boyfriend, especially when we first started dating, I would like accuse him of being one of those giants. And I'll be like, let me count your fingers. Let me count your toes, So yeah, and I guess we do look strange next to each other, because I do, which I know you disagree, but I think I definitely do have characteristics of Native Americans. We are allegedly have Cherokee ancestry, and so it looks like here's this Cherokee descendant walking around a Bigfoot descendant at the at the Bigfoot festival. But yeah, I wonder if there's any validity to that. But and I have to wonder if these big red-haired giants are related to the Sasquatch stories in any way. Have you heard about the red-headed giants with the 6 fingers and 6 toes?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
And do you think that's related to Bigfoot? Or is that a different thing?
It might be vaguely related to Bigfoot in that one thing that's important to note is that different individual tribes had their own myths and legends.
Okay.
So I think a lot of what we think of Bigfoot comes from like a merger of tribes that lived in the Appalachians, the Great Lakes, and the Cascades. The idea of giants with red hair mostly comes from the Southwest.
Really?
Or the Rocky Mountains, yeah.
The Southwest and the Rocky Mountains. And I'm trying to think, because when I think of a giant with red hair, I'm thinking of Viking.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm taking it at their word that this existed. So if we're assuming this exists, where would those giants have come from, if assuming they were real?
So, well, like your physical characteristics are environmental.
Okay.
They're not necessary. They become genetic over time, but initially they're environmental. So it is theoretically, at least, completely possible that you'd have light-skinned people or red-haired people that existed in the Americas before Europeans arrived.
Okay.
It's not necessarily impossible. So, like, in the north of Japan, there are people who have blonde hair and blue eyes.
You're kidding.
But they're not related to Europeans at all.
Really?
They're their own ethnic group. They're technically the natives of Japan. They've been there before. They were there before the Japanese arrived. But
I've never heard this.
they're called the Ainu, yeah. Or like people in Madagascar and Namibia. To an outsider, they just look like Africans, but they're actually not related to the other sub-Saharans that are near them. The Namibians are their own thing. They were probably there before most black Africans, and the people from Madagascar are closer related actually to Hawaiians.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, the people of Japan, do they isolate themselves? The group that you were talking about, do they...
I don't think so. They were like the Japanese equivalent of what we would think of as Indians. Is just the Japanese arrived and just kind of kicked them out, so now they only really exist on the northern island.
Okay, so they didn't isolate themselves, but the Japanese kind of moved them over.
Yeah.
Okay, but they are definitely like separate from the Japanese.
Yeah.
In a way. Okay. So that's what the giants would have been, or even possibly the Sasquatch, assuming it's real, right?
Yeah.
I do like to assume that maybe it's real. But also, like, I was thinking about this before we started recording tonight about what the possible metaphor could be. And I don't know that you've had any experience with this, but I definitely have, without giving too many personal details out. But I think there can be something terrifying about your own inner potentially animalistic behavior that that you may or may not struggle to control. Does that make sense? Like, do you think these stories could come from man's fear of himself and his own inner brutality or something?
It's possible, but I think more likely it's just associated with a generic fear of the wilderness and the outside.
Okay.
Because giants are not unique to Native American legends. Like in the Odyssey, Odysseus reaches an island and it's populated by giant cannibals. Yeah, yeah, you didn't know that?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I think it's Lastragonia, maybe.
Okay.
Is the island he comes to.
Maybe it was a fear of being devoured.
In History of the Kings of Britain, when Brutus lands on the island, it's inhabited by giants, and they have to kill them to get rid of them.
Okay. Well, I think that might be it for now, I guess. If you've actually been watching this, give us some feedback in the comments. And I think we're going to close it down for now. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay. All right. Bye.